Hey everyone, good evening. I want to give a update on the Atlantic and on the Gulf of Mexico. We got two strong storms out there right now. And of course, all the attention here the last 24, 36 hours have been on the newly formed Hurricane Idalia, which is down just east of Cancun, getting ready to go across some of the mountain ranges of Cuba and then head on into the Gulf of Mexico on its way up to Florida. Now, kind of the worst case scenario for those that watched my video yesterday morning, Sunday morning. At that point in time, they were expecting possibly a Category 1 hurricane by the time it hit Florida. Maybe a strong tropical storm, 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. One thing that I was seeing was that this cluster of thunderstorms, let me just move right down here, that was off of the tip of Mexico, it was moving south instead of north. And it was kind of holding there, just brewing. There wasn't anything that was actually propelling this system to move further north, in which that's what the models were suggesting it to do. Now here we are, probably an hour, 2 hours away from actually being hurricane status. And it wasn't supposed to do that until just a few hours before it hit landfall in Florida. So the more time that this system stays over water, the stronger this system, this hurricane, is going to be when it hits the coast of Florida sometime Wednesday morning. So as you can see right here on your screen, right now we're looking at, actually there was an update on that. It's expected to be 85 miles per hour, sustained winds with maximum gusts of 105 at about midnight here. It could be a little bit quicker. Right now it is moving north at about 8 miles an hour, so it is beginning to pick up a little bit of speed. However, with it already being hurricane status, once it leaves Cuba, now we have all of this 90-degree temperature and higher water it will be going across, and the National Hurricane Center is predicting rapid intensification, especially once it gets just off the coast right here. So that they're expecting right now 120 mile an hour winds, maximum gusts of 150 miles per hour, and that puts this as a major hurricane that will be slamming in to the Big Bend of Florida, just north of Tampa Bay. So just a lot of concern over this here over the last 12 hours. And we have the hurricane hunters. They are actually with NOAA and with the U.S. Air Force, and they go through the eye of the storm down here several times a day now, dropping some radio sondes which will actually pick up the data and transmit to the National Hurricane Forecast Center to give them. They will feed that into the models to get some real-time data so that they can pinpoint exactly where this is going to strike on land, as well as the intensity once it hits land. So right now it's kind of a worst case scenario. This red outline area is what they call the cone. This is anywhere between about Apalachicola to just north of Tampa, is showing that that's where the eye could possibly come across land at. That's not saying this is the only area that's going to feel any effects of this hurricane. Actually, all along the coast of Florida, the western coast, are going to feel the effects of Hurricane Idalia. But this is where we're going to find where the eye hits land. Now, the strongest winds are in the northeast quadrant. You're going to have winds that are going to be going counterclockwise, just like this. Now, once we get to Category 3 status, 120 mile an hour winds, you're going to have 120 mile an hour winds going counterclockwise, pushing water up into Tampa. That's a huge, huge concern for me right now. I have a couple of friends that actually live in Tampa. Very concerning here, because if this holds true and the eye follows this central track and it pushes all this water, we could have some major storm surge way into the inland. So this is very, very, very critical. There are storm surge warnings out. That's this kind of darker line all the way down the coast here. We do have storm surge warnings right now out for much of the west coast of Florida right now. So let's take a look at storm surge. And you keep in mind, the storm surge is probably one of the is the most dangerous aspect of a hurricane as it approaches land. So right now, the National Weather Service and the Hurricane Prediction Center is showing the greatest storm surge of 8 to 12 foot, basically between, let's see, just north of Tampa, here in this red, up to 12 feet. Tampa, 4 to 7 feet. And this is based upon the hurricane and the eye of the storm following that central track. If that should happen to shift just a little bit further south and bring these heavy winds right up through the little rivers and inlets in Tampa, they're only going to be about 30-40 miles away, and we could be seeing 12-foot surge in Tampa, which would be devastating. So very concerning, personally, is going to be the threat of storm surge in Tampa. Now, what we have, some people ask, well, how come you can't tell exactly where this eye is going to go? Well, about right here where my cursor is, there is a little bit of a high pressure, and winds go counterclockwise. Depending on how strong that high is on Wednesday, it could possibly push that hurricane in the center eye up a little bit further north, maybe up here around the Idalia River. If that happens, then we're not going to see quite the storm surge along the coast. However, if this high pressure that is going to be sitting out here in the Atlantic is not very strong, it could actually travel just a little bit further south than what the models are saying, which would be devastating to Tampa Bay. So we've got 8 to 12 foot here in the red around Tampa, 4 to 7 foot, and then we get up here near Mexico Beach, 3 to 5 foot, 5 to 8 feet. So pretty much the entire western coast of Florida is going to be under the gun to see some storm surge and possibly some storm surge damage. One thing that you always want to remember is that these storm surge forecast maps is basically just a guideline for understanding where that storm surge flooding could occur. But regardless of what this map, like you're looking at right now, you always follow evacuation and other instructions from all the local management down in that area. So right now there are evacuation orders out, mainly along this area in red. There's evacuation orders, and anybody that's along just south of it near Tampa, I would definitely suggest it for them to move further inland, depending on where this hurricane goes. Regardless, just move. You you have to remember that, if you get trapped in there, then they're going to be having to send first responders out, risking their lives. And we have plenty of time for these people to prepare down in Florida. So if you have any friends or relatives down in that area, why take the chance? Move inland. Spend a couple days there in the in a hotel way into the inland of Florida. Then that way you don't have to worry about it. You're not putting other lives at risk trying to help save you for sticking around. So storm surge, very, very, very dangerous. One of the dangerous aspects of a hurricane. Let's take a look here real quick. I want to show you very, very impressive storm out here in the Atlantic right now. This is Hurricane Franklin. Right now, wind speed of 150 miles per hour, 175 mile per hour gust. Category 4. Would not be surprised to see this reach Category 5 status. It is just a powerhouse. Beautiful storm out here over the Atlantic. It's going to stay to the west of Bermuda. It's not going to affect any land. So that's good news. We just kind of sit here in awe of the beauty of this hurricane out there, and this thing has traveled a long ways off the Africa coast and all the way out here into the central Atlantic. So really, really kind of a neat picture of Hurricane Franklin. So right now, again, the Hurricane Idalia is right now projected to hit land sometime between 8 and 11 a.m. on Wednesday here in the Big Bend of Florida. After that, even when it gets up into central Florida, up around Jacksonville, up into, as it approaches into Georgia, it's still going to be maintaining 90 mile per hour winds with 150 mile per hour gust. And this would be actually on the 30th, right around 1 p.m. Eastern time. It will continue into Georgia and into South Carolina, still be in tropical storm strength as it's getting into South Carolina, 60 mile per hour wind, 70 mile per hour gust. So still going to have lots of impacts here along the coast until it finally goes back out into the Atlantic. Now, one thing of note, even though this is kind of an outlier model, the GFS model actually shows this hurricane to make a wraparound and come back and hit the east coast of Florida. So it's just an outlier model. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it is. Some of the spaghetti models are now showing this thing to make a 360 and come back in and slam the east coast of Florida. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it is definitely something I'm going to be watching the different model runs to see. That would just be incredible. So right now, as it stands, we've got all kinds of hurricane warnings, storm surge warnings, tropical storm warnings, hurricane watches. It is absolutely chaotic down on the Florida. There's many evacuations that are going on down there right now. So anybody with any interest down there, family, friends, kids going to school, make sure, and hopefully they heeded my warning yesterday morning. They weren't talking about this being too serious. However, it is going to be a major hurricane that will be hitting the west coast of Florida. If you notice right here where this low pressure system, if you watch my video yesterday morning, I told you that this was going to stay down here and just churn until this disturbance. This is what got us the rain on Saturday. Gets out here, and of course we've got counterclockwise winds around that low, and that is what's steering this Hurricane Idalia up to the north to eventually hit Florida on Wednesday. So that's kind of the update right now on the hurricane. I just You know, I know it doesn't affect here in West Central Missouri, but this is we, you know, a lot of people. We got over 6,000 members in the room, and I'm sure that maybe somebody has some interest, or family, or relatives, or friends that live down in Florida that need to have some of this information. So, and of course, I enjoy the heck out of tracking these hurricanes and seeing what they do. They are just an enormous force of nature, beautiful to look at on a radar like what we're doing right now, and learning about these storms. But one more thing I wanted to let you guys take a look at. You notice here is showing this is a Category 4 storm. That's Hurricane Franklin. 125 mile per hour winds, 937 millibars. That is the central pressure of that hurricane, and that is very, very, very low. That is a very low pressure, very, very strong. Now, I do want to bring over a model, one that has been fairly accurate last year and into this year so far, and show you what the model is showing. The model is showing Idalia before it hit the coast reaching 937 millibars, the same low pressure as Hurricane Franklin at the Category 4. I strongly believe that this is going to hit the coast as a Category 3 major hurricane, probably 115 to 120 mile per hour winds. However, I would not be surprised to see this going over these warm waters, intensifying to a Category 4 storm on the lower end side, but still major Category 4 possibility here. Like I said, this is very, very, very dangerous. So everybody needs to be heeding all the evacuations and to take care of life and property down in Florida. Make sure, if you know anybody down in that area, take this seriously. And I think just here today, I haven't been watching any of the local news down in Florida. However, I do believe that they are actually telling people that they need to evacuate. They have to get out. Right now, the last thing I saw on Twitter was that they do not have any water bottles anywhere along the coast right now. So people are heeding these warnings. They are stocking up. Hopefully, they're moving further inland. Because this area right here, guys, this what they call the Big Bend of Florida. There is no shelter down there. There's a lot of storm chasers, obviously, that are going to be flooding into the area. No pun intended there, but they're going to be moving into Florida to chase this hurricane. But many of them are staying put, because if this comes on shore where they say that the hurricane is going to come on shore right here at the Big Bend, there are no high-rise hotels. There is nowhere to take shelter, and so these storm chasers are staying home. It's just not safe. If it's not safe for storm chasers, it sure the heck ain't going to be safe for people that are living down there in that area. So it is very, very important to get the word out and make sure everybody is prepared down in Florida, if you have any family, friends, or relatives down in that area. So this does have the potential to be a devastating Category 4 hurricane to hit Florida. So let's talk a little bit here on West Central Missouri. Again, another beautiful day today, 82 degrees, light winds. It was just another beautiful day today. Expect more of the same all the way through Friday. This weekend, things are going to start heating up. Labor Day weekend, we're going to have another ridge of high pressure that is going to be stuck on top of us starting on Saturday. That's going to bump up our temperature back into the mid to upper 90s and all the way into next week. However, the humidity is going to be a lot lower than what we went through last week. So it's not going to feel that hot. So for those of you with lake plans all the way through Labor Day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's going to be a great weekend for camping, lake fun. You're going to have plenty of warm temperature during the day. It's going to cool off nicely in the evenings with low humidity, lows in the mid 60s. Just perfect to have a little fire. So it's going to be a great weekend to be out and about. Just be careful. We are going to be talking about some rain chances coming back into the forecast after Labor Day in next week. Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're looking at right now. We'll have another cold front be coming through, so we will have some potential of possibly some severe weather as well. So for the rest of this week, beautiful. Lows in the upper 50s, highs right around 82, 83 through the rest of the work week through Friday. So if anybody has any questions, feel free. I'm looking here at the chat, just seeing here. Jordan, what's Jordan writing on here? Well, it having Idalia and Franklin as far as being collided together, that's not going to happen. Actually, Franklin is going to be long gone by the time Idalia moves across Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, boy, if that would happen, that'd be something like a perfect storm, like the movie The Perfect Storm. Yeah, there's a lot of alerts going on down along the coast right now, Jordan, and I've never lived in a hurricane-prone area, but I can only imagine. We take a look at all these alerts going on. Yeah, the phone would just be going nonstop. So a lot of activity going on down there. So I will be doing another update tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be hurricane hunters are going to be going through this nonstop. The next update at 11 or 10 o'clock our time tonight. And I'll post in the Facebook group as far as what it shows, and we are expecting Idalia to weaken just a little bit as it comes across the mountains, and then start to re-energize once it gets across Cuba, and then really start some rapid intensification as it moves on up into the Florida coast. So everybody have a great night. Get out and enjoy the beautiful evening. And I will be updating tomorrow, live tomorrow night. And then I'll be updating the hurricane hunters and what they find out tonight around 10:15, 10:30. Have a good evening.